New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello out there. So do you describe yourself as a hot mess? Do you maybe have some struggles and challenges in your life, having a life that's full of fun and ease and grace? Are you ready for a spiritual awakening? That's my question for you today. Hello and welcome to New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Lisa and I'm here to share some tips with you about how you can get your life to turn it around with happiness, ease, and grace. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your inner dazzle. So we are here to talk about what is an inner dazzle. You have an inner dazzle. I have an inner dazzle. The inner dazzle is that innermost part of you that is truly connected at the heart and your soul. It's that part of you that knows how to be, come from a place of wisdom. It comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of harmony. It's that part of you that knows how to be happy and successful. It's that part of you that knows how to live in authenticity and live your life in your highest purpose. That is your inner dazzle. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about how we can connect you to your inner dazzle. So the next question I have for you would be, is how do you view the world? What are your thoughts about the world? Do you go around often thinking, well, everything just sucks and I don't know why I even try, and bad things always happen to me and I'm always having a crappy day? You know, is that the type of attitude that you have? Or do you wake up in the morning being grateful and happy for the day? Do you wake up in the morning and say, yes, I'm so happy to be alive and I'm grateful for my breath? Do you wake up and smell the roses? You know, it's one of those things. You got to take a look at the way that we view the world. How do you view yourself in that world? Do you see the cup as half full or half empty? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's taken me years, but I've learned how to develop that part of me that sees the cup as, I even see it as pretty much full. I live most of my life in an optimistic point of view. And where do you live from? What part do you live from? Do you live from kind of a victim standpoint, or do you realize and recognize that you have the power inside of yourself to create any kind of a life that you want? Did you know that? That's what's so cool about it. So I'm here to talk with you a little more about what those ideas are. So have you ever thought about having a spiritual awakening? Do you even think of the word spiritual or awakening? Do you live your lifestyle in a way that connects you to spirituality? How do we live our lives? That's the question. I want you to really think about that and what you're doing with your life. That's good. Questions. Yes, Wayne. Hi, Wayne. Good to see you. God bless lighthearted souls. For sure. That is what we're here to be. So that's what your inner dazzle is a lighthearted soul. That's that part of you that feels that connection. So I would just say that there was back a time in my life when I didn't feel connected. I felt like I was a hot mess. I felt like things weren't going my way. I felt like I just went from paycheck to paycheck and living just 1 minute by each minute and not really having any focus. I'd come from a place of, back when I was a teen, I lost my mom to cancer. And so I was really coming from a really dark place. I had no faith, no philosophy, no spirituality, nothing. I just really didn't even believe there was God for a while. So it took me a while to find my spirituality and find my faith and find that connection to my inner dazzle. And that's part of my story. And that's what I like to teach others, is how to learn how to connect to that part of you and come from a place of connection and love and happiness in your life. So why is it so important to live a spiritual life? Why is it so important? So I have a quote for you that I want you to take a look at. I have something to share with you. So the idea is when we have a spiritual life, we just take a look at, let's see, where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, there it is. There we go. Got quote number 1. The exploration unfolds and spiritual growth occurs when we begin to evolve our sense of who we are and what life is all about. And that quote is from Jonathan Ellerby, PhD. He is fantastic. So we're talking about a book, and I wanted to read a little piece to you a little bit more about the spiritual life. What is it and why is it important? So the simple story about the stars says so much about the power and importance of a spiritual life. It allows us to live by what matters most, not by the moment-to-moment reactions that we have and the distractions that we're prone to. Spiritual experiences and practices can be like guiding stars, providing a kind of clarity and orientation by which we make the most out of our crucial decisions. It impacts every aspect of our life and our health, from our physical conditions to our emotional well-being, relationships, and the way that we use our time and how we treat ourselves. With each conclusion, we come a long way. The test, the try, the recommitment to the question again, always checking our choices against our guiding light. The exploration unfolds and spiritual growth occurs. That's the goal, the spiritual growth. That's what we want to occur. Spiritual growth occurs and we begin to evolve our sense of who we are and what our life is all about. That's what we're here to do. We're here to not only be a human being, but we're a spiritual being in having a human experience. A spiritual being having a human experience. That's what we're doing here today. So the book that I am referring to is a really beautiful book, and it is called Return to the Sacred, and it is by Jonathan Ellerby, PhD. It's Ancient Pathways to a Spiritual Awakening. So the good thing about this book, and that I've discovered, it's got some really great, just some simple things that you can do, that you can read about learning about your spiritual self and how we can step into a spiritual path, how we can have spiritual lifestyle, how we can create that spirituality, which is going to bring us peace, it's going to bring us harmony, it's going to bring us balance and get us out of the old lifestyle of life is just crazy and I'm just a hot mess all the time. It's going to take you totally out of that and bring you into your center, into your inner dazzle. So I wanted to ask you what personal, Jonathan talks about your 4 spiritual personalities. So we're going to talk about that. So I want to ask you, which one are you? And there is 4 listed here. These are the 12 master paths. So I want to ask you, do you think you might come from a body-centered practice? Do you feel like you like to connect with your body and connect in that way? Feel that connection? Or do you feel like you might be wanting to do a mind-centered practice? These are all different spiritual practices. So you can connect with the body, you can connect with your mind. You also might want to connect from your heart. You might be a person that comes from the heart-centered soul, heart-centered practice. And then the last one is a soul-centered practice. So I ask you, which one of these 4 are you? Let me know in the chat. Let me know which practice do you think you are. So so think about that and let me know which one you are. Today we are going to talk about our heart-centered practice. So that is the 3rd one in the series. We've been working on this series the entire month, and we're coming into the 3 out of the 4. So our heart-centered practice is what we're going to talk about today. So if you just think what the word is, heart, we're coming from the heart. We're connecting to the heart with the heart. So those center practices are definitely one of my favorites because coming from the heart is, I feel like, to me, it's easy to do because I'm just a heart person. I love hearts. I love heart symbols. I love everything that's heart. So I like to come from my heart when I move into my spiritual practices. So I ask you the question, do you have any spiritual practices? Do you have a connection with God or a higher power or a divine being? Do you feel like you have any kind of a relationship with God? Do you feel like you can talk to that higher power? Well, this way, the heart-centered practice is one way that you can do it. So one way you can do that, of course, is through prayer. That's definitely one of the number one ways we can connect to our higher power is through prayer, because we can talk, we can have a conversation with God, talking about and asking for what it is that we desire. You can also connect to and have we call it an altar, or just a little area in your house where you have maybe some special things that work for you. Some of the things I have would be, I have this cute little prayer hand. I also have, let me find I have some little hearts, little heart rocks, all kinds of beautiful symbols. These you can see. I love using these. These are a great way to just connect. You just rub them. They're like a worry stone. So you can get these little stones, and they are a great way to also connect. So another way, some people feel it from the heart through like a traditional religion, like the Catholic tradition. A lot of people connect through the heart with the saints, obviously through Jesus Christ. You can connect with Mother Mary. There's a lot of beautiful symbolism and ritual in the Catholic tradition. So you can definitely connect with your heart to the heart of a saint or something like that. You can also do it through Buddhism, Hinduism. There are also obviously people worship and connect with their heart to Buddha. Also, you can use beautiful statues. I love Kuan Yin. She is my favorite. I have to show her to you. This is Kuan Yin, and she is a goddess, a Hindu goddess. She is the goddess of compassion. So that is also, for me, coming from my heart, the goddess of compassion. So I connect with her. I relate to her and I can call on her and ask for guidance or wisdom in regards to love and compassion in my life. So there's lots of different techniques and different tools that you can use, lots of different faith backgrounds. It's definitely something to check out. You can even Google it. You can go on YouTube and find all kinds of wonderful things to find out what you feel connected to. Another way to connect through connect to the sacred or higher power is through love. Another way that I do is I always think of and have a picture of my daughter. This is my little daughter. There's a little bit of a glare, but anyway, I connect to my heart and through the heart of the divine when I connect with my daughter. So there's lots of beautiful ways that you can do that. So I have another quote for you about love, and that is coming up down here. So I wanted to read this quote to you. Love becomes the fuel of our awakening. The essence of the path of devotion lies in the capacity of the loving heart to shatter the persona of life and an egotistic mind. When surrender is true and conscious, the path of devotion opens our lives to become the channel of sacred will and wisdom. And that is also by Dr. Ellerby. And he talks a lot about love and all of the beautiful qualities in his book. So the next part of this is what I wanted to talk to you is we're going to talk about sacred service now. So the idea of sacred service is just what it is, just how it sounds. So you can do a spiritual practice by having a sacred service, by sacred services, which would be, a lot of times when you volunteer at a homeless shelter. I have a couple different ways that my daughter and I do that. We actually put together meals. We put together small snack bags. with a couple bucks. And we keep those actually in the back of our car. And so a lot of times we see them at the stoplights or wherever. And a lot of times I'll put like a little affirmation or quote or something in there as well. So we have those little bags ready and we hand those to people when we're out and about. So we're just sending our love and we're sending our sacred service to these people who are homeless. And we really don't know what their situation is. So I'm teaching my daughter to learn to come from a place of love, a place of understanding, and a place of just sacred service. So that's one of the ways that we like to provide sacred service. And the cool thing about it, when you do stuff like that, and you'll notice it if you do it, you'll see and feel something that really I can't even explain. There's something that's really sacred and special about partaking in sacred service. So I invite you to try it. Another way that we do it, you definitely can do it. A lot of times you'll see and hear about people will go and with COVID, it got all wacky, but people will go into hospitals and they have special rooms where you can either hold and rock a baby, or you can go and just even through the windows and you can wave at people, go and visit different units and just wave at people and say hi and just be in service. Just be a person of love, just coming from that place of love. What it does is it feeds your own love and it feeds and fills your heart. That's what I love about it. There's just lots of different ways to do that. Yes, let's see. What is Wayne? I am in my head about being a loving soul. Yes, that's for sure. So that's some great ways is by sacred service. It's a great way. So you can volunteer, you can help the homeless, be in a hospital. Another way that as a youth minister for many years, I would take the kids, my teens, my youth into the Ronald McDonald House, which is a program that supports hospitals, children's hospital, when the families are in need of a meal. You go in and you prepare meals for these families while they're visiting the hospital with their children that are sick. So when we spent the time doing that several different times, and oh my gosh, I'll tell you, the feeling and the emotion that comes is just really just a beautiful experience. Once again, it was about teaching the kids, how to be in service, cooking the meals, first of all, which was great because a lot of the kids didn't even know really how to make macaroni and cheese or anything like that. So it was a great experience for the kids, giving them self-esteem and self-worth and confidence. And then when we were handing the meals to the families, there's just something so precious about being able to connect with people. And even it's people you don't know, but you're just coming from a loving heart, coming from that loving space. So you're coming from sacred service. You're just coming from your heart. That's what it's about. It's just being present and being in your heart. And that's so important. So yeah, the quote, I just have a little note I wanted to share. So the greatest gift we offer is our presence. Unconditional, loving, and affirming. That's what is. So we want to come from our hearts when we talk about sacred service. And then, of course, the next piece that Dr. Ellerby talks about in our heart-centered practices is, so there's another little thing I wanted to read to you guys. Let me see if I can find it. 161. Here we go. So the cool part is you are the gift. So when you come from a place of sacred service, which is a spiritual practice, so we're talking about spiritual practices today and how they enrich our lives, because when we can come from a place of love and we connect to that place in our heart, then it centers ourself. It gives us a much better attitude and gives us hope and gives us love. And hello. We have Marlene, my dear friend. Mwah! Love to you. Yes. Thank you. You do have it within you. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you for being here. So the great news is you are the gift. The greatest gift we have to offer is our presence. Unconditional loving, affirming what is. In service, we come face to face with spirit. We come face to face with spirit of life, knowing its astounding capacity to triumph, as well as its delicateness in the midst of uncertainty. If we look at what we resist when we serve, in time, it will set us free. One more piece. The way to heal ourselves is a precious dance, reflecting on the life and the relationship between service and spirituality. And then Ram Dass tells us something which is really great. I want to read something from him. Ram Dass commented, I am arriving at the circle where one works on oneself as a gift to other people so that one doesn't create more suffering. So we are the gift to ourselves and to other people, and then we don't create more suffering. I help people as I work on myself, and I work on myself to help other people. Does that make sense? It's a little tongue twister, but it's beautiful. So the other book I wanted to share with you that's really beautiful that you will love is by Ram Dass. And yes, here we have a picture. Ram Dass and Paul Gorman. How can I help? And these guys do a beautiful job in this book of suggesting many spiritual ways in the spiritual path of how do I help. And of course, we're talking about the idea of being in service and how wonderful that is for you and for others. So definitely check that out. I wanted you to for sure check that out. So then tip 3 I have for you, the third tip. So the first part we have, let me go back really quick. First part we have is talking about the spiritual personalities, and we have a heart-centered practice is what we're talking about today. So when we have different spiritual practices, that connects us to ourselves, connects us to others, gives us a beautiful, beautiful attitude and a definitely a more harmonious outlook in life. So we're talking about heart-centered practice. We're talking about sacred service practice. We are also talking about, Jonathan talks a little bit about the guru guided path. So this is for people that have maybe delved into and been practicing spiritual practices a little bit more than some of us. So the idea is that the guru guided path is really, you can either have a spiritual guide, and these are different types of people. You can have a spiritual guide, or you can have an actual guru, which, of course, many of us think of the gurus such as like Dalai Lama or somebody of that magnificence. Of course, there are those amazing gurus. And of course, you can go to India and you can study with the guru if you so decided to do that. But you can also do practices here that make more sense for a lot of us who are not able to go on big, fantastic trips like that at this point. So you might find a spiritual guide. And a lot of those are as simple as Oprah. I mean, she's one. She's an amazing spiritual guide. She taps in and tunes into and talks to all of these amazing people. She has really wonderful conversations with all kinds of great spiritual teachers. So those are people that we can tap into and listen to and learn from about how to lift our awakening. Yes, he has written over 20 plus books. I mean, there's some wonderful resources out there, I guess was my point. So yeah, we got spiritual guides and we have master teachers. Those are the 2 guru types that you can also check into when you're developing your spiritual practice. So that is about it for today. Let me see, what else do we have? So I wanted to read one more quote to you, and I have that one on my page. Seemingly, it's actually on the back of the book. I wanted to read this to you. Seamlessly weaving his own fascinating experiences with deep exploration into the paths of our spiritual masters and how they walked. This timeless book, we're talking about this, the return to the sacred. This timeless book will appeal to anyone seeking a spiritual way of life, the meaning of spirit, or how to walk on their own path with joy and meaning. So that is the whole idea about creating a spiritual lifestyle. That's definitely something that I want you to consider, because when we think about all of the ways that we express and we experience and we come from different perspectives, it's definitely a way to go is to add that spiritual practice into your life and make your life richer and more full of meaning. Come from a place of harmony and peace and love. And that's definitely what I always like more of. So I invite you to do the same. So on that note, thank you so much for being here with me today. know that you can get support from me. You can certainly get in touch with me. I have my email. You can email me. You can also look me up on Facebook. So my email is lisa@innerdazzle.com. Send me an email. We can set up a 20-minute free consultation. I'd be glad to help guide you in the direction that you need to go. You can also find me on the Facebook page, on my Rev Lisa page, spiritual resource. You can connect with me and send me a message there. Also, I would like to thank New Thought Media Network for allowing me to speak my thoughts on this beautiful network, this beautiful ministry. You can certainly go to newthoughtmedia.org and click on donate. We appreciate and support all of the funds that come our way, and we know that we teach a lot of reciprocity. So as we give, so shall we receive. So definitely click on ntmedia.org, click on donate, and support this ministry, as we so appreciate it. If you're so inspired by me, you can also support my ministry. You can donate to Rev Lisa on Venmo at Rev Lisa #1. So thank you very much for being with me today. This has been a wonderful series, and we have one more to go. So definitely tune in next week. We will be talking about soul-centered practices. That's our last part of this book. So soul-centered practices. Join us next week, next Wednesday, and have a blessed, blessed day. Thank you for being with me today. Our time together is always a celebration of your personal empowerment. And as we say, always leave them dazzled. Thank you for being here. Peace and blessings. We'll see you soon. Bye.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.